Time is 10:05. We'll call this October work session to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Enos. Do I hear a second? I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3 and none opposed. Agenda's approved. At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent. Do you hear a second?
Second.
Second by
I'll
Ms.
second.
Enos. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3 and none opposed. We're adjourned to executive session at 10:06. Motion was made by Ms. Enos, second by Ms. Finley, to come out of executive session at 10:10 a.m. Motion carried 3-0. No other action was taken. Do I hear a motion to approve the executive session minutes as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Enos. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Finley. Any further discussion? All in favor? Ms. Finley?
Aye.
3 and none opposed. Executive session minutes are approved. Action item, approval of personnel. Do I hear a motion to approve the personnel action report as recommended?
Make the
I'll
motion.
make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Finley. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Enos. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4 and none. 3 and none opposed. That brings us down to some updates. First update is ESPLOST update. Dr. Townsend?
Okay, yes, sir. We're going to have, Martha just stepped out. We've got a PowerPoint. Okay, this is just a brief update.
That's right. Okay, he's going to start.
This will be a brief update about what's been happening at ESPLOST, and we just want to show some pictures today of the auditorium in use. Some of you didn't get to see the auditorium in person yet, so we want to make sure you saw that. We've already put it into good use during the day. The classes are. So the first part, I'm going to talk a little about Pickens Junior High in just a second. And then one of the things to add, we did go to the K2 also for the 1-to-1 student ratio on computers with the technology with the Chromebooks. So our K2 students as well has that extra technology. We did buy 6 new buses over the summer. They are on site, and those all have air conditioning as well. We're able to use ESPLOST money for the buses. This helps us with the technology from using general fund money or monies from property taxes, things like that, which allows us at times to try to keep the millage rate down as low as possible. And this year, again, you guys were able to lower the millage rate. And the reason we're able to do that or be able to utilize ESPLOST money where people coming from out of town stop at a restaurant, stop at Walmart, gas stations like QT, racetrack, buy cars. Quite a few people come to our car dealerships here in Jasper. We have some great car dealers here, and that helps us with the revenues to help fund initiatives like this. So I just want to make sure you knew about that, and then it's always a good day when you get out of town people spending money inside Pickens County and helping support our schools. And of course, the athletic facilities, second to none. We've really done a good job. Y'all have really done a good job of getting these facilities in order. Softball had the opening session. I wish I had a softball picture for you, and I don't. I apologize for that. That field looks gorgeous. They had the first game out there this year, and I believe they made as much in one game this year as they did all last season for softball. The crowd showed up. We're playing Gilmer County as a doubleheader, and really nice crowd. Everybody's really proud of all the facilities we have built with the current ESPLOST funding. Okay, this is one of the pictures. You'll see this one of the classes using this, and they've done a good job. They understand we cannot project or sing inside, so they're kind of walking through the lines, but they are understanding the COVID guidelines as well. Just another picture of the kids practicing and using it, the auditorium. And this is another one you can tell in class how she's got the rest of the class spread out as she's got a few of the kids on stage there. And so I just want to make sure that some of you haven't been able to see the auditorium yet, and let you know it's looks great, it's functional, it's useful, and it's gorgeous. And our kids are really taking advantage of it. And just really want to thank the community for supporting this current ESPLOST that we're in. They've really done a good job, and everybody for the past few years have really done a good job of putting together the projects and making it happen and making it fit within our budget. We're being cost conscious at the same time, using the taxpayers' money wisely. So that's it for the ESPLOST report. I'll be glad to entertain any questions about the update. And if you haven't seen the auditorium in person yet, you need to go out there. Really do. So I'd welcome that.
Yeah, I guess the next updates are going to be the policies for board review, 6 policies.
Okay.
Be updated.
I've got Mr. Parker doing the first 4, and I'm going to talk a little about the last 2. And Mr. Parker?
Good morning. These will be 4 separate policies, but all changing, aligning with GSBA recommendations for Title IX regulation change starting in August. First Title IX change in years to federal regulations for Title IX, and we've got to adjust some of our policies to be in line with how we handle Title IX complaints and things like that. The first one, GAAA, is equal opportunity employment. This basically changes just some of the language on how to file and some of the specifics on designating days from overall days to school days. Would you like me to ask for any questions about each one, Dr. Townsend, or you want me to go through all 4 of them at the same time?
Yeah, let's go through all 4 and then they can. GAEB, sexual harassment of employees. This policy is completely different. We had to strike.
Tucker, could they speak up a little bit, please?
Yes, ma'am. Let me make sure.
See if you can speak in the last chair, Mr. Parker.
Yeah.
Just go up to the stage
Okay.
and speak up there. You can actually sit there. It's easier.
Sorry, his mic wasn't working, so.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Can you hear me now, Ms. Fender?
Can you repeat the first one, Mr. Parker?
Yeah, I'll do the first one again. I apologize. Nobody's ever told me I was too quiet.
Can you hear him fine now?
I can hear you now, thank you.
These are 4 policies, and the first one's on equal opportunity employment. Each one of them has to be slightly, or in some cases, totally amended to align with the Title IX regulations that have gone into effect for all schools, K-12. The first one with equal opportunity employment is really a slight change to add in how to file complaints if people have them, and change the language on what a work day versus a school day is. The second type policy, which is GAEB, sexual harassment of employees, has had to be completely rewritten because of the grievance process that goes into effect with Title IX regulations. I know you all have these, and these will sit for 30 days. The next policy, GCAC, sexual harassment of students, is actually now a very similar policy to the one on employees, the last policy, and has also had to be rewritten. So the procedure and the process we would have to go through is much more extensive moving forward on these. The final policy on Title IX is on JAA, equal educational opportunities. This is comparable to the first policy in that it does slightly change how to file complaints and change the language from work days to school days, which is something the GSBA had suggested. You all have any questions about these 4 policies, or anything I can answer specific about Title IX or anything else we're having to do?
Mr. Parker, can you kind of tell me what the biggest difference is you think of what the feds came out with this past August compared to what's happened in the past?
Well, there's 3 or 4 things probably, and the first is it changed the definition of sexual harassment, probably narrowed it slightly, But when we have them, the procedure that we will go into is very extensive, and it does involve superintendent if it gets to that level. It could be a 30 to 40 day investigation that takes place with several checkpoints if we have, and this is in place for kindergarten all the way through college. And so some of it is probably a little more college geared, but we will follow the same guidelines. And, you know, probably the biggest burden for all of our employees is that it changed the rules slightly on what's mandated or reported, that any kind of sexual harassment, which now includes stalking, dating violence, domestic violence, any of that stuff that occurs at school, and it has to be at a school or school function, all of our employees, all of us, anybody is mandated now to report that, the same as we would for child abuse or anything else. So we've had to do some training with the employees and send out some information to remind them of that. That's probably the biggest change. When we get a complaint, the process we have to go through is much different than it was in the past, and it involves making both sides aware and giving them notice and letting them have representation. And there's a lot of detailed things that are written in these policies that probably make this a little more extensive. Definitely makes it more extensive than it's ever been.
Okay, any further questions?
Appreciate that update.
Yeah, and each school of ours has a Title IX coordinator, Dr. Townsend, and then those people, I serve as a district Title IX coordinator, and then we would kick stuff up to you after those investigations from the school level through here to there.
Thank you, and as Mr. Parker said, all these today will be voted on next Thursday night to put on the table for 30 days. We thought it'd be good to give you a chance to review them before you guys vote on Thursday. The next policy is JGC, Student Health Services. This basically is, we were, I guess, recommended by GSBA legal department that this is more, the policy there that we had on lice in the past is really more of a procedure, more of a rule, which you should have in the handbook, which we do, instead of an official policy by the Board of Education. So this is optional where we'd still implement it, but it would be more of a handbook, more of an administrative rule than it would be a policy. And they're just trying to help us kind of clean up some things where do you really want to have a policy in place or a rule in place? And the second one, policy JGCD on medication, this will actually match what we do in our handbook. It'll still be a policy, but right now there's a discrepancy what it says in the student handbooks and what it says in policy. So we want to line up to where basically this is going to be where parents are required to drop off any prescription medications in person. And we understand this during the COVID crisis, and we would just ask the parent, of course, to put on a mask and go see the nurse and check in. They'd be allowed to do that, to drop off the medication. But basically this is where this will match with the current handbook and current administrative rules been for quite a few years now. We just haven't had updated the handbook to the policy to match that, so we want to make sure the policy and the administrative rule stays the same, and this is a recommendation by GSBA as well. Any questions regarding the two health policies? Okay.
Thank you very much. So, as they said, these 6 policies will be for our consideration next Thursday at our regular meeting. But that's an update there. So if anybody has any questions between now and Thursday, I'm sure Dr. Townsend or Mr. Parker will be happy to answer any of them.
And Chairman Tucker too, we'll also have an official, another presentation on ESPLOST, but it'll be on the kind of upcoming ESPLOST, kind of what we are recommending, and give you a few more details regarding that.
Very good. Thank you. All right, I hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Smith, do I hear a second?
Second.
By Ms. Ennis, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4 and none opposed. We're adjourned at 10:27. Hope everybody has a great weekend.